Yes. Aloha. Hi. How are you? Good. Bunch of little things. Olivia. A church. Churches. The Lord's Prayer. Bookmark. Kalaupapa magnet.
Here today, 23. All of the patients that arrived off here, 1866. 9 women and 3 men. Before Father Damien arrived here, 200 to 400 patients.
Aloha. So here we are at Father Damien's church, like the first one, St. Philomena. And his right hand is buried here. Originally his whole body was buried, but the Belgians exhumed him and took him back to Belgium. His wish was to be buried here. But he dedicated his life here. He came when he was 33 and spent 16 years and actually contracted leprosy himself, which was sort of a rare scenario because he must have been genetically predisposed. It's an autoimmune or immune situation where your immune system becomes weaker and weaker, and only 1 to 4% of people are predisposed genetically, so he must have been one of them in order to actually contract it. But he did, and so he lasted 16 years. He died when he was 49. And if you look at the cliffs out there, when the patients first were dropped off over here, he wasn't here yet. Department of Health got involved, dropped people off at one of these points over there, and they actually were given a week's worth of supplies and said goodbye, because nobody wanted to help them get in because they were disfigured and people were afraid they were going to contract the disease. So they actually got to swim in, those who could make it, and those who couldn't make it obviously didn't make it. So that's kind of a rough start when you're already sick. But that was the beginning, and Father Damien then came later on, and in 73, and died in 89. So quite the place of isolation out here, you can imagine. Without modern airplanes and things of that sort, everything had to get over the cliffs, and it was not easy. So you got to pay some respect to these people. Let's have a look inside if we can. And, we found out that his canonization is going to be in February, so what they're doing right now is they're restoring the whole entire church, obviously, for the purpose of making it very pretty and appealing and honored, in honor of Father Damien, once these Catholics arrive in presumably huge throngs of Catholics coming down the hills to pay their respects to Father Damien. In February of 2009. So here's Father Damien's grave up close, and if you look over here behind us, we have some of the other dignitaries here, and behind us is hundreds of people buried without, what do you call that?
Unmarked graves.
Unmarked graves. So that whole field over there is the unmarked graves. So we'll sign up for now and check back in with you when we eat lunch and supposedly get even better views of the cliffs. Guess what this is? Coconut bark. Falls off the trees. So we just picked up a piece to demonstrate the usefulness of these. I used to kid around and tell people this is Tahitian toilet paper. You soak it in salt water and it softens it up some. I had some people believing me for a little bit. Anyway, There's actually an actual stretch in this fiber, and it's used for clothing and things. But it's quite nice. It's very flexible. You know, like you can actually use it for things. It's not a stiff piece or something. So you could theoretically wear the latest fashions. Eco clothing, organic cotton and coconut pants. Anyway, that's of course just BS. But the coconut bark part is not BS. This is the real thing. So anyway, I think we're going to go eat lunch, but just wanted to show you what nature can make for you. We don't need synthetics. Aloha. So just want to show you the swim they had to do. First off, this is the kind of water close up that they would probably be facing when they got in, if they could swim at all. And then that little pointed rock there is where they got dropped off because nobody wanted to help them because they were afraid of contracting the disease because they weren't sure how that was transmitted. So they were made to swim from that rock over to that second valley over there. And if they made it, well then they made it to the valley with a week's supplies, and then they had to figure out how to get around living there with leprosy. Or Hansen's disease as it's now called. And eventually I suppose some of them made it all the way over here, and that's how we ended up with people all along. But there was a Hawaiian village that took them in. Half the village took them in, and the other half of the village didn't really care for these patients, so it was a rough start. It was really basically condemnation and abandonment. And I don't think if you're that sick you care about how beautiful things are. So as we stand here, we just want to remember the people that were here in less fortunate circumstances. And I speak from recent experience because I was recently in less fortunate circumstances myself. So take in the view on this blustery day, and relatively speaking, and if you can get down the hill, you could actually bathe down there. There's a calm zone down there that looks quite comfortable. Try it.